Warning, this podcast is intended for consenting adults. We're talking about all things non-monogamy, which means some of our conversations are going to get down and dirty. Please know we are not professionals, and these are strictly our views and opinions and in no way represent the opinions of our employers. We respect others' opinions as we know everyone in the world of non-monogamy does it differently. Hope you enjoy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of 3 Shades Deeper. My name is Anthony Grayman, and as always, I'm joined by my beautiful wife,
Pinky Grayman,
and my lovely girlfriend,
Ava Moore.
How are you ladies doing today?
wonderful.
Excellent.
That's wonderful. I think we've been doing good with these new segment, 3 Shades Deeper. We're getting more and more interesting guests to come and have conversations with us.
Dissect the fucking frog.
Yes.
Topics I never thought we would be discussing. So it's pretty amazing to explore things in a different sort of way than we had been.
And to, as the title implies, go deeper with it. And
You know I like to go deep.
behave.
I can't help myself.
I know.
Don't
I'll
forget
give you a
to breathe.
spanking later.
Please.
All right. It's
Thank you.
time to focus. So we have a guest today, and it's somebody that Pinky encountered through her, as Ava calls it, her hippy-dippy kind of feelings and stuff. But, you
Those
know,
warm and fuzzy people.
the warm and fuzzy, there's nothing wrong about warm and fuzzy. But
We love them.
yes. and-
Oh, look who's talking.
Listen, you've opened up my mind completely.
Pot
love you.
meet kettle. Kettle meet pot. All right. So we have the next guest that we're going to introduce. We have Pinky to thank. And his name is Paul Weinfield. And Paul is a singer, songwriter, poet, and meditation teacher. He's also a teacher from Columbia University and Hunter College, where he was teaching religion and philosophy, which is kind of what this discussion is going to be about. For those of you that have heard my origin story, I came from quite a religious background, and I would say that religion did play a role in my introduction into non-monogamy. So we figure we'll have a little bit more deeper discussion with it. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce everybody to Mr. Paul Weinfield. Hey, Paul.
Hey,
Aw.
Joel. It's great to be here.
Well,
Wonderful to chat with you.
thank you for sitting down with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you all.
Yeah, so why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about you, a little elevator pitch or a little background on you?
He stepped out the elevator pitch a long time ago. FYI.
Well, as you said, I'm a singer and a songwriter. I think of myself as a musician first, because I think that really what I want to do is just be in tune with life, whatever that means in the moment. And make music with life. And I'm also a meditation teacher, which to me is very similar. Really about finding a way to be in tune with whatever is happening, which sort of has to do a lot with my philosophy of relationships, which is kind of to really listen to others and to listen to myself, and strive for truthfulness. I'm no longer a professor. I want to just be clear about that. But I was a professor for 10 years, and I taught at Columbia and Hunter and in the religion and philosophy departments. And so I can be very intellectual. I'm trying to be less of one these days. I'm trying really just to listen more to what my heart is telling me about relationships, or about anything for that matter. And I also mainly support myself these days as a life coach. I do a kind of life coaching that's very much based on internal family systems, which is really understanding individuals as collections of parts, which has a very, very deep and profound connection to polyamory. I think that once we begin to understand that we have different parts the idea that we would be with different people at the same time is much more natural. I have some poly clients, some non-monogamous clients, and I love working with them. But even regardless of who my clients are, I always take an approach that seeks to respect the diversity of people's feelings and experiences.
Because everybody does relationships, whether it be monogamous or non-monogamous, differently. There is no one blueprint for it.
Exactly.
Okay. So, if you don't mind sharing, what dynamic do you have at this particular moment?
So I consider myself to be poly. That label suits me quite well. I like the term poly because or polyamory, because it really allows me to think of relationships not just in terms of sex, but in really more in terms of connection. And so there can be a lot of fluidity between, I have long-term romantic partners, I have uh, lovers, I have friends who become lovers, I have lovers who become friends. And to me, it's really just about finding the right container for the connection to express itself truly. I don't consider myself hierarchical, although I have two long-term partners. Hierarchy is not the same as priority. I do have two people that I see a lot, and we form kind of a cluster that is something of a family. And so that there's that sort of piece of the web. But partners have partners, and we all know lots of people. So it when you really zoom out, the web goes on in a lot of different directions.
Thank you for that. And I like what you said before, because there are a lot of terminology that comes along in the poly world, and hierarchical is one. Like, okay, well, almost like if you've been in the corporate world, let me see what your corporate structure is. You have the CEO and then the branches, and they go down. But I like that you mentioned that instead of using the term hierarchical, it's priority. There's some relationships, and that goes with, even if you're not, in my opinion, if you're not in non-monogamy, you prioritize certain relationships. The relationship that you have with your mechanic is not going to be the same that you have with your, high school buddy. They're totally different. Unless your high school buddy is also your mechanic, then it is. But I actually like that perspective.
I
Mm.
also like that you said that the relationship has its own fluidity and how it changes with time. I believe in that, and this is just such an amazing thing to hear it from you. Understanding that relationships are always fluid and they're changing, just like a current. It's coming and it's going, and it's never going to be stationed. And like, I think what happened with me in monogamous relationship, when two people get together and there's like fire and whatever, and then a couple of years come in, and then you just get stagnant and you get comfortable, and then it's just dissolving into this, how can I say it, into this certainty.
Yeah.
Where in any kind of relationship there's no certainty.
Right.
And
Exactly.
even if I have a ring on my finger, there's no certainty, like
Taking things you take it for granted.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes in monogamy and even in non-monogamy, you might take somebody for granted just because we have these expectations in our head that, oh, this person is with me, or I'm married, or whatever it is. And it's often said people will treat a stranger better than somebody that they know. And it is an unfortunate thing, which is another reason why relationships take work. You really have to work on things.
Well, it's funny for me, with my origin being in the swinging world, I always thought the way I was doing my relationships was strange, because I was building these deeper relationships with my partners until I realized I was poly. And hearing you explain the way you embrace polyamory is very similar to how I embraced polyamory.
how we
There's no
embrace.
hierarchy. And the relationships really are fluid. Sometimes I get to spend, 2, 3 weekends in a row with a partner, but then I don't see them again for 3 months. But that
Mm.
doesn't change the bond that we have. It's very fluid in terms of how we proceed in our relationship.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
I think one thing that I wanted to say is to what I've learned of doing that for a couple of years now is to let go of a control. And that's one of the hardest thing for me because I want to control everything and everybody and like just do what I want.
No.
Pinky makes you things, right? Do things.
He makes
Um,
us do all sorts of
but it's not, and actually, like coming in to ask you to be here with us right now, it was a journey. And you came to me, and that's what I'm working on it. Okay, I just want to recognize that I'm working on letting things just flow naturally and not have this. I have the tendency to be excited, and I can't hide it, and I'm about to lose control, and I think I like it. But the reality in the world is that I have to slow down, breathe, and let things happen as naturally as possible. They will. If I've learned a quote, if it meant to be with you or to be yours, it will, without any force. So thank you.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that polyamory has taught me a lot is just that relationships should be a place where we can learn how to be with change. This kind of gets into my background as a Buddhist, but um, I think a lot of times society teaches us that the point is to find a relationship that doesn't change, and that's really anathema to growth. And ideally, whatever kind of relationship model you use, there should be an embracing of change, and the people involved should be helping each other change and grow and let go of things that don't serve them anymore. So I think that's very important for healthy relationships is that there's a letting go of older versions of ourselves too.
And change is inevitable.
Yeah,
You know, you
totally.
see it all the time. It's just seasons change. Okay,
Hmm.
so if nature changes, what makes us think that we're not capable of changing?
Totally, totally. Yeah.
So when you introduced yourself, you said that you consider yourself to be a musician. So
Mm.
tell us a little bit about how your music and how that became a part of your life or a central part of your identity, because you kind of led with that.
I mean, I was really born a musician. My mother was a child prodigy pianist who became a composer, and the other side of my family were mostly musicians, mostly classical musicians, and I started playing music as long as I can remember. I mean, I think at some point I was given, after being given a rattle, I was given a recorder and then a clarinet. Then basically when I was 9, I started playing guitar, and that sort of became my main instrument for a long time. And I consider myself a songwriter because I really love songs more than just, I mean, I love music, but I really especially love songs like with lyrics. And I love songs that tell stories. And so I'm also a storyteller. And that's a really um, big part of who I am, that stories help me process things and they help me explain things to other people. And so, usually if I'm going through something, there'll be some kind of story that comes out of it that usually ends up as a song. So that's, I think, why I lead with it as my identity.
And I think that's one of the reasons that led Pinky and you to kind of intersect, because she's with the writing,
Right.
lyrics, poetry. It's a kind of like a natural, they come together. Okay.
Totally.
I see for me, writing is part of healing journey. And throughout the whole time since I opened up the relationship with you, my beautiful husband, writing has been private therapy sessions for me, which is an amazing healing. And also understanding myself better through writing and expressing myself this way. It's been an amazing, amazing journey. Thank you.
It really was such an important part of your journey from the beginning, and really how you navigated the struggles, the triumphs, everything. And you were able to document it and put it into words and work it out with yourself through your writing.
Yeah, thank you for being there for me, both of you, because I put you through hell, both of you.
And we're better for it.
Yes.
We're better
Oh,
for it.
Is that a similar thing for you with your songwriting, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, ever since I can remember, I've been dealing with times by writing songs, and usually it's something, if I'm not writing songs, something's usually up. Like I'm usually not doing so well. And sometimes, like I was in the studio today, and the engineer was like, "Do you ever stop writing songs?" And I was like, "I really hope I don't, because it's usually a bad sign when I'm not writing songs. Something is off. It's not so much about the finished product for me, it's really about the process. You know, out of every 5 songs I write, maybe one is it has something good, if that. But to me, it's like it's a really real way to like process what's happening with me and express myself, and also really work with the different parts of me that can come out in a song. It's a way of like having an internal conversation too that eventually becomes something external.
yeah. Would you be okay sharing your origin story of how you actually came into the polyamorous world?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Well, I like to say that I knew I was poly ever since I was a kid. Specifically, when I was 15, I was dating somebody, puppy love thing, and she broke up with me. And I said, "I thought we were doing really well. How come you broke up with me?" And she said, "Well, I want to be with this guy." I said, "Well, why don't you just be with that guy too?" You don't know how it works. um, and then the other big thing that was a big impact on me is when I was 17, after I graduated high school, I spent a summer with my mother's friends in Spain, who had an open still have an open relationship. I believe they still have an open relationship. They're in their 80s now. Uh, it was a husband and wife who are Spanish, and the husband's best friend, who's Moroccan, was the wife's lover at that time. I don't think they're a triangle anymore. But they were all living together, and they were nudists too. This was in the Costa Brava of Spain, and so needless to say, this blew this 17-year-old boy's mind.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we
Sure.
have a bit in common, because I was introduced to BDSM as a impressionable young teen, or
Wow.
Were you 19?
1920.
Wow.
Around those times, I was gallivanting, being a club kid, promoting and doing things and seeing things that I would have never imagined. And
Stuff
I
you don't
did,
hear about in your everyday life. And I
Right.
think getting
Right.
to see real people do these
Yeah.
things
yes.
is totally eye-opening.
Yeah. And
And
seeing that it's loving, and it can be sweet, and it's not, what the media or all these people tell you it is.
not everything needs to be experienced. Like, I don't need to put my hand on a hot stove to know that it's hot and I'm going to burn my hand. But
Right.
in some other things, sometimes, even if you're not participating, and I don't think you were participating as a 17-year-old, but
Right.
viewing it and observing it and seeing that, hey, this works,
Yeah.
even though you
Yeah.
didn't know all of the ins and outs. And that's the one thing, you're seeing the best of it, but I'm sure you weren't privy to, well, I'm upset with you, and the internal struggles and things that go along with any relationship
Sure.
that happens. But I'm taking it that it was a positive impact on your
It was
life.
such a positive impact. It stayed with me my whole life. And I haven't really seen them since, I know something about what happened. I won't digress going into it, but they really managed to do something very beautiful with their relationships. When I got back, I went to college. I was then all about open relationships, and um, although I didn't really know what I was doing, and we didn't have the word polyamory back then, at least where I was in college. Um, but I think I basically just dated a bunch of people. I don't think I was really practicing polyamory or non-monogamy, but I did get that seed planted, and then in my early 20s, I had one monogamous relationship that was really a disaster. It was a 5-year monogamous relationship with someone much older than me. It was a disaster for a number of reasons, but it really made it very clear to me that I can't do monogamy. I mean, not that I was cheating. It was that I can't do monogamy authentically. That's what it really showed me. we would have like terrible fights about like where she'd be like, and is there anyone else that you're attracted to? And I'd be like, feeling that like I had to lie and just you, and one of the things we talked about, religion is that like, and I can say more about my background, but to me, spirituality really comes down to truthfulness. And so it just became very clear that I couldn't be in a monogamous relationship and really be truthful. Um, so luckily I met Atash, my oldest partner of 20 years, when I was in my mid-20s. And from the beginning, gave each other a lot more permission than we'd ever had to be extremely truthful about our desires, about our feelings, about our attractions for other people. And it was incredibly healing.
Yeah, there's something about being able to be your true, authentic self with somebody. I know when I started dating Pinky, I said, hey, I might be a frog or a toad and you have to love me warts and all. Like you can't really pick and choose the parts. Like you have to know the good and the bad. And she was willing to go along with it. So
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah,
I mean,
thanks.
I think that's one of the things I love most about my relationships now is being my authentic self and
Yeah,
feeling like you can talk about anything and everything with your partner and you don't feel like there's those walls that there are in traditional relationships. You can talk to your partner about your other partners and they're okay with you having feelings and experiences with your other partners and
yeah.
they have compersion for you in those moments. And I think that's one of the things I find most rewarding about the dynamic I have now is how open and honest it is.
It's a road for everybody. And what you just said, Ava, in terms of people having compersion in your relationship, I think most of your partners, all your partners have that because they
Mhm.
advance. I've been doing that for a while now, 3 years, and I still feel like I'm crawling at times where emotions come up or any kind of feelings come up, and you have to be open and raw with yourself first and then others. Yeah, but the journey to get to that kind of connection, what you're referring to, Ava, it takes courage to face yourself first and your demons. And most of our demons, I would say, okay, I'm not talking about anybody else. My demons are from my childhood, where they
Sure.
come up, and I'm like, I didn't even know that I had that. And then you and I talk, and then or my husband, and we dissect the frog, which I love
Mm.
doing that, even though I've never dissected the frog because I wasn't born here.
You dissect your brain constantly, your psyche.
I love that. I love digging in and just like, I don't know this part, but what is it called again? I forget. Yeah.
Mm.
So the whole idea of getting to that level of whatever you have with your partners is pretty amazing when they feel compersion and they want the best for you, no matter what, even if they're not together with you. It's just so powerful where we all want what we want and how we want it. And with me only, not anymore. And I don't think like that anymore, but that's what society teaches us. You're
Yeah.
the only one and you're going to give me everything. You're going to be my lover. You're going to be my parent to my children. You're going to be my most sacred, confidant, and you're going to be my best lover. And I'm like,
it's a lot of pressure to put on one person. And even if you're looking in non-monogamy or a poly, the most obvious thing that I think a lot of people look at it is like, oh, it's just all of these wild orgies and sex parties and all that. And while they are fun, it's not the only thing. It's there are quite a few people I know that consider themselves poly, but they're able to have very deep, intimate relationships which are non-physical with other people.
Yeah.
And I know I have that with people that I wouldn't say they're partners, but I have these relationships with people that I'm not intimate with at all.
Right.
And I'm able to express myself differently with them. And it has nothing to do with sex or that.
Mm.
It's a different type of intimacy.
yes, exactly what I wanted to say. That you are intimate with them. It's just a very different level of intimacy because in our society, intimacy, you say word intimacy and people are always thinking about you fucking. I'm like, no, there's so much more to intimacy. You're just holding space for them to be themselves, and you accept them for who they are, and sex is not a part of it, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I don't think I could have, if I were in a traditional monogamous relationship, I don't think I could have a lot of the platonic relationships that I have, because there's, there would be too much intimacy there for, again, traditional monogamy.
Because there
Um,
are
Sure.
rules. You
yeah,
know,
You can't look
yeah,
at her. I'm sorry.
can't
You gotta go blind. I'm sorry.
you can't look at somebody else and think that they're attractive. Like, okay, they're
yeah,
attractive, but they're people that I do find attractive, but I don't want to have any kind of physical relationship with them. They're just attractive, and that's it. And we can
yeah.
move on.
So I have a question. You said you were a professor for 10 years. Did
Mhm.
you ever feel like you had to hide that you were poly during that time because of your profession?
Sure. Yeah, I was very closeted about it. I don't know if I were a professor now. I mean, it's been 10, 15 years since I really was a professor, but I don't know if I would be as closeted now, because I think I understand. I think I had a lot of fears. Some were valid and some were just like a little bit coming from a place of shame about it. I think now that I understand myself and I understand society a little bit better about like what kinds of where you can push and where it's still kind of dangerous to be out and be poly. I don't think I would be as closeted now, but back then I was very closeted.
And society has changed
That has changed.
a bit, where it has become somewhat mainstream. If you look at some of the streaming services, some of the popular shows actually bring that up as an issue, and
Yeah,
it's
Mhm.
just people are seeing it. It's not mainstream,
right.
and in all honesty, we're not necessarily out. I don't even. It's something that I actually think about. Do I even want this to be mainstream?
Right, right. Well, of course, when things become mainstream, they change
They
too.
change
Right.
exactly. So is like, okay, yes, can I be out there and be my quote unquote true authentic self? But
Yeah,
then once it becomes mainstream, it's like, oh well, everybody's doing it.
yeah,
You know,
totally,
it's
totally.
I get the feeling that it might take something away from it, which might not be entirely true, but that's a thought that I have.
Yeah, yeah.
This
I'll give you an
road. Oh.
example about how things have changed. Like, I mean, I would say like maybe even just 15 years ago, um, it was very, very common for if Atash was out on a date, for someone to just like come in and be like, "Don't you know she has a husband?" Start like yelling at her in the restaurant. Or
Oh
have,
no.
yeah,
Wow.
or people were always like telling on me. They'd be like, "We need to talk. I saw Paul. He was with this woman," and Natasha would be like, "Was she blonde, blue eyed?" "Yeah, I know her." Very like, going on here. So, that was just like 15 years ago. It used to happen all the time. Now, I think if someone would see me with someone they didn't recognize or attach or any of my other partners, they'd be more like, what's the story? What's their situation? They might ask questions as opposed to just going into full like tattletale mode. So I think society has changed in that way.
Well, it's also something that I have a thought on, which is a little controversial, and I'm already getting the looks from the ladies, but cheating is a form of non-monogamy. And I
Yeah,
think it is a more acceptable form of non-monogamy
totally.
in the world, where the same situation, you're in the restaurant with the blonde hair, blue-eyed woman, a friend of yours sees, they'll come to you and talk to you like, listen, what's going on, and just go back home, work on everything, you'll be fine, everything
Right,
is good. And
right,
they're willing to, if you go with the program, it's like, I'm glad you stopped doing that and everything is good. And they'll continue to be your friend.
right.
Now you flip it and you say, hey, Atash knows that I'm out with this blonde haired, blue eyed woman. And they'll look at you and say, what kind of monster are you?
Right.
Don't ever
What's
talk
wrong
to
with
me
you?
again. What's wrong with you? Like, I can't be a friend to somebody like that. They're more
Mm-hmm.
willing to accept the cheating as
Yeah.
opposed to, hey, everything is out there. My partner, my wife knows exactly what's going on,
Yeah.
and they're willing to throw that away. But if you said you were just cheating, it's like, you know what, it might have been a moment of indiscretion,
Right.
weakness.
Because you're not threatening the structure. You're just a bad exception or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
For
I think
sure.
it brings us back to religion.
Yeah.
And that is where this conversation is going. So, in all of your teaching, when you were teaching, where do you see polyamory and religion kind of intersecting? Are they on the same road? Do they drive on the same road? Are there parallel roads? Are they
Do they collide?
intersecting? Are they on the same track and they're about to just run into each other and cause a huge wreck? Like, how do you, in your opinion or your experience?
I mean, it's a big question, but one of the things that I would just start off by saying is that I think most religions have challenged traditional monogamy at some point. Nowadays, we like to pretend like, oh, if you're monogamy and religion go easily together, but like, you know, Jesus didn't get married, right? And a lot of religions have monastic traditions that were really sort of counter to traditional monogamy. And it was kind of a hard sell in the Christian world to convince people that what they were supposed to be doing, since Jesus didn't get married, is what they were supposed to be doing is getting married to one person and having this monogamous relationship. And there's lots of books that have been written about it. It was like a gradual thing. So I don't think religion has always been opposed to different ways of imagining love. In fact, I think religion's always has a lot of times been challenging the way we think about love. But certainly in like the 19th and 20th century, it became very much about like if you're a good religious person, you marry one person, you never have desires for that kind of came.
Thou
But
shalt not commit adultery.
exactly. And of course, all as you mentioned, I think it was before the recording was on, but like, I mean, Solomon, you have so many kings who had multiple wives, right?
Yes, multiple
So,
wives and concubines. And,
concubine,
that was kind of when I knew nothing of polyamory or non-monogamy, when I was dating and I was in church, I would talk to different girls.
right?
And, because this one is cool with that, and I enjoyed talking to this girl because she likes this. And I was approached, and it's like, hey, you're talking to all these different girls, and it's not a good thing because you should find one and stick with one and talk with them instead of talking to all these different girls. And my thought is like, how do I know I really like this person unless I get to talk to them and engage with them? And it wasn't even, in that time, it wasn't me thinking like, oh, I'm trying to hook up or sleep with them. This was before that, the real hormones and stuff were going like, yeah, I want to just lay everything that I can get my hands on. But it was just really like, yeah, kind of the puppy love, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
That kind of like, yeah, I'm talking to all these different girls. And then, it's like, no, you shouldn't do that. And then when I mentioned King Solomon, it was just like, okay, you can leave now.
Yeah. Right, because it's the side that people don't want to talk about. I mean, and of course, women generally didn't have access to that, right? So that's not good. But there's always been this, I think, sense that like religion meant different things to different people. Also, religion was a way of like experiencing love outside of marriage, because if you think about love for God, that's not to be too cynical about it, but it was a way for people to really express a lot of desire outside of marriage, by having feelings for God or having feelings for saints or whatever. Um, so yeah. Anyway, so I think religion has challenged monogamy in a lot of points, but also it's recently been very allied with it.
Well, we're talking about Western religion, right? But if you go in other countries, it's different. Centuries, it's a very different approach to what we know of.
Different cultures, you can have a first wife and a second wife and different rules.
As long as you can feed them, it doesn't matter how many wives you want to have.
Yeah.
Atash usually tells a story, but she's not here. So she says that she discovered she was polyamorous because she grew up in Iran during the the revolution, and so during the sort of rise of the Islamic clergy to power, and she started noticing that some of her neighbors were taking multiple wives, and she asked her dad about it, and he said, yeah, well, that guy's a powerful man, so that's why he has two wives. That guy's a powerful man, that's why he has three wives. And she said, well, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to be a powerful woman, and I'm going to have three husbands.
Wow, I love
Good for
that.
her.
That
He said,
Rock on,
might
Natosh.
not have went over very well at the time, but
it didn't, but she was right. She ended up with the equivalent of three husbands. So, you know.
yes.
Love
So
that.
definitely a good story, and hopefully we'll be able to get the full story
Yeah, we
at
will.
some point.
We will.
You coach people, and you said you coach people both in the monogamous and non-monogamous world. What focus do you, when people will approach you for coaching? Because in the coaching world, you have coaches for different reasons, like a career coach, sports coach,
Life coach.
life coaching. Like, do you have a niche that you kind of hone in on?
Yeah, I mean, I really try to focus on people who are wanting to live more from the heart. That's so how that lines up with their careers or their relationships or whatever can mean a lot of different things. But I'm really looking to work with people who are ready to kind of stop living from a place of fear of like, I need to do this to get ahead, or I need to be in this kind of relationship for my parents to approve. And I look for people who are really willing to listen to what their heart is telling them to do. So it's very heart based what I do, and when I work with any kind, and because I do end up talking to people a lot about their relationships, what I encourage them to do is to notice where they're being motivated, by fear about essentially, which is telling them they have to have this kind of relationship, or they have to have this kind of strategy that they use, and to kind of back up and just become the observer a little bit, and just notice all that, and then really see from there, like, what is it that they really want. A lot of times people find the answers to be very surprising, find that they don't want to be in the relationship that they're fighting so hard to make work, or they want to be in a totally different kind of relationship. So it's always a journey. I mean, one of the things that I really abide by as a coach is that I never have an agenda or a curriculum. I'm trying to get people to see things a certain way. I just want them to get to the place where their hearts are speaking to them and they can really hear it clearly. So it's always an adventure.
Being more of a sounding board for them.
Essentially, I ask a lot of questions. I don't really tell people or what, I don't analyze or tell people what to do.
Well, that's the difference between a therapist and a life coach.
Yeah.
That you just probably it's just reflecting. It's a mirror.
Yeah. I want people to have power in their relationships, because it's been a beautiful journey of me finding a lot of power in my relationships. I came from a place of feeling very voiceless in my relationships when I was younger, and I was just doing what I thought I was supposed to be doing. And to get to a place where relationships really lift me up, and they help me, and I feel really good in my relationships. It's been a journey, so I want to help other people do the same.
It's amazing. I actually found my voice when I met this beautiful man who's sitting next to me. I always was about everybody else, but not me, and not able to really talk about what I really want. And now he thinks that he's created a monster.
He has created a monster.
I have, but one of the things
I'm a gorgeous one, okay?
this is
Yeah.
true, but old habits do sometimes die hard. As much as you've changed and grown, and this happens, I think, with all of us, we end up kind of reverting back to past behaviors at times. Sometimes unconsciously, you don't realize that you're doing that, and it's just, that's one of the things about having a good community of people where they can recognize, not necessarily to chastise you or to say you're a bad person, but recognize that, hey, is everything okay?
Yeah, right.
Is everything okay with you? And realizing, like, hey, I've noticed a change. Like, the same way where you mentioned that if you're not writing music and somebody talks to you and says, hey, what are you writing? Like, I haven't written in like 2 months. It's like, hey, Paul, what's going on, buddy? You
Right,
know,
right.
let's
Yeah,
let's let's see what's going on. You want to come out and talk, or hang out a bit? What's going on?
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about polyamory is you have so many mirrors, and I mean, like it can be also very exposing, and it can feel like, oh my God, I can't hide. Um,
Mm,
but
yeah.
but sometimes it's really nice to notice that different people reflect different things in you and make you see yourself differently. It's like a more complete picture of self. I think that's one of the reasons I love polyamory.
Yeah, and it's also um, not all of your partners will actually realize that there's
Mhm.
something wrong with you
Right.
because you approach them very differently. So with one partner, it's always like, hey, it's a partner that, hey, we go to concerts and you're
Right.
going to concerts all the time. And it's like, yeah, I love the music. It's all
Right.
good.
Right.
It's great. And all they see is you on the high because it's your favorite artist or group. They're not going to see you when you're down. The person that you might be a partner with, that it's like, hey, we like to kind of just chill and go for walks and those kind of things. They'll notice like, hey, something is wrong because you're not on that high. So that's also another, I think, a benefit of having the multiple partners. At least if one misses it, hopefully there's another that picks up on it like, hey, something's not right.
And
Take,
we've experienced that. I mean, like a year ago, nobody knew anything was bothering me. And
mm,
you pulled me into a room one day, Anthony, and you're like, "What's going on?" And I just went, "Ah," and I started crying. And there was not another single person on the planet who knew anything was bothering me. So if he didn't say that, I wouldn't have talked to anybody about what was going on. So
uh,
it's very helpful to have those people around you who know you in a different way.
takes a village to raise an adult.
Oh, I love that.
Does.
Yeah. I
Don't
have a
call me that, okay? We don't use that word. I'm not an adult. I'm
Children's
4.
overrated.
I have a question for you, Paul. And the question is, as a life coach, as a musician, as a person who has multiple partners, how do you replenish yourself?
Really good question. I have I have some general things I'll say and some very specific things. Very specifically, I like to walk. I like to take really long walks. I feel like I replenish myself. I clear my head that way. I also music does actually help me really replenish myself too. I mean, it's work, but it's also really rest um, for me. So those two things, and then just more generally, I try not to get to the place where I'm carrying tension in the first place, which is of course easier said than done. But I try to like look at the way that I'm interacting with people because I know now that certain ways of interacting, whether it's with strangers or acquaintances or very close partners, I know that certain ways of interacting are going to like actually cause a lot of tension to build up at a time. And I try not to have those interactions. So one of the things that's been very formative in my sort of education has been studying nonviolent communication, um, which is basically a way of having more connection in the way that you speak, as opposed to just kind of like people telling each other what to do, which is a lot of what society is. But I know that that's helped me not only be a better coach and a better communicator, but it's also really taught me that if I'm having certain kinds of conversations, that I'm going to end up carrying some kind of a burden that's going to exhaust me, and so I try to get out of those as soon as I can, and or switch them to different ways of having conversations. Like I don't want to have conversations with people in which I'm telling them what to do, or they're telling me what to do, or that are full of judgment, full of gossip. I know that's gonna carry a psychic burden. I'm having conversations with people where we're talking about our needs and our feelings. You know, I know that that's not going to weigh me down. It might be intense, but there's a flow to it. It's like water; it kind of just like washes away, as opposed to something I'm left carrying.
Yeah, thank you for answering the question. It's amazing.
So, Paul, what upcoming projects are you excited about that are coming up either in your coaching career or in your music career?
Yeah, a couple of things. I mean, I'm working on a new album. Um, I'm always kind of working on something, but I am excited about that. Um, I'm also excited. I just announced that I'm doing a retreat with a friend of mine, Sophie Redman, in Italy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be a mix of yoga, meditation, but then also a lot of like sharing circles. And it's not about polyamory specifically. It's about the theme is safety, dignity, and belonging. But I think those are three words that really kind of sum up uh, what polyamory needs to be successful. So those are the things we're going to be digging into. I'm going with my poly family to Mexico next month. We haven't taken a trip all together in a while, so it'll be really nice to be there.
When you say family, I have like goosebumps everywhere because I always talk about we have been brought up into this life by our blood family. And what we have now, what I'm creating now, is an extended family
Yeah.
and
A chosen family.
a chosen family. And I love that. That's whole idea of like empowering ourselves, knowing that we can have both. I love my family, my birth family, you know, but I
Absolutely. Me too.
also love my new relationships, which is extended family. And it's times where extended family knows more of who I am and what I'm doing than my birth family.
Sure.
Not to say that I'm not open to them, they know, but that's not their life. And it's totally fine.
Totally. And I think for me, I don't want to speak for anyone else, but for me, polyamory really is in the end about family. It's about like restructuring the family along different lines. Because again, yes, it's you can have multiple sexual partners, but you can do that being just a single monogamous person too. But I think that what makes polyamory different is that you start relating to people, like you start to have a sense of inclusiveness that doesn't have to be about sex. Very close platonic friends who I consider part of my family, my chosen family. Um, yeah, it doesn't have to be about sex.
I feel like we just understand each other in a different way than other people, outside of our chosen family can understand us,
Yeah,
which is
it's
a great feeling to
yeah.
have those people.
Yeah, yeah,
It's that communication, never stopping communication that exists in the poly world. It's definitely helped us to understand each other better and where we come from and held space for each other when we really are open and raw, where I call it. And it's those moments are just really brings us closer together every time it happens.
it's beautiful. Yeah.
Thanks.
So one last question. You're definitely enjoyed having you sit with us and tell us about yourself. We could probably sit here for much longer and go into deeper conversations. But I think I'll let you kind of sum it up as to what message or impact do you hope to leave through all of your work, whether it be the music, the coaching, writing, and actually forgot that you're a published author as well. You've written a book. It's called The Magpie Art, Gathering the Brightness of Every Day. And what is it that you hope to leave as an impact for the world?
I want people to live the fullest expressions of who they are. And again, this is where polyamory is. There's a big connection here. I want people to really believe that they have different parts, that all their parts are good, and that all their parts can get the love that they are dreaming of, whether it's through one person or many people, and that whatever they think is a part of them that they need to hide or deny or exile, that's where the magic is. That's where their gifts are. So that if they can bring more and more and more of themselves, fuller and fuller version of themselves, life just gets better and better.
You have any other questions for Paul, Ava?
No, I've loved chatting with you today, and I really appreciated what you shared with us. So thank you.
Yeah, me too. This has been such a great conversation, guys.
No, thank you. We definitely appreciate it. Any other questions, Pinky?
I have a lot of questions, but
We
Of course
know.
she does.
I am going to leave it up to that until we meet again, which
We'll
we
keep
will.
talking. Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
So, everybody has been listening to this multi-talented individual that we've been talking to. Where can people get more information about you, Paul?
If you want to find my music, it's just my name, Paul Weinfield, Weinfield. And if you want to find out more about the work I do, both one-on-one and groups, the best place to go is to paulweinfieldcoaching.com, all one word, and you can learn about working with me.
Okay, definitely.
Thank you so much.
This information we'll definitely put in the show notes. And don't mean to put you on the spot, but can you do something for anybody who listens to this episode and then reaches out to you? Is there anything special you might be able to do for them to reward them for listening this far? In terms of your coaching, don't mean to put you on the spot. I can cut this out if you want.
No. Oh, I want to make sure I understand the question. You mean just anything that I could offer to somebody who's listening right now?
Like a
Correct.
promo
A
code.
promo code or a
You know what? I have a much simpler system than promo codes. If you're listening to this, just get in touch with me and we'll have a conversation. I always have at least one conversation with anyone. Even if I end up doing paid work with them, I always do at least one conversation just for free because I just love connecting with people and I wanna know what you're going through, whoever you are. So just reach out and we'll talk.
All right.
I
You
love
heard it
that.
here first, everybody. Yes, definitely reach out. So we want to thank everybody who's out there who's been listening to these 3 Shades Deeper episodes. We thank you immensely for supporting us and continue to support us. And we want to thank Paul for giving us his time, because that is the one commodity that we can never, ever get back.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Yes, it's been great having you. So from all of us, Pinky
Thank you so much.
and Ava,
Thank you.
we appreciate this, and we will see you guys next time.
Stay salacious.
Bye, beautiful people.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to visit our website at 3shadesofgrey.com. That's the number 3shadesofgrey.com, and sign up for updates, exclusive content, and more. Want to keep this vibe going? Follow us on our socials at 3_shadesgrey, at AvaMoore_3shades, and don't forget to check out Pinky and her salacious, soul-stirring poems over at Polly_poet. Until next time, stay salacious.